Well, I'm a record collector, and I found on one of my trips back to Pittsburgh that there's actually a record of Farkleberry polka.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the influence, you never know when you start something, the influence going to have. But that, wound up being a major fundraiser for Children's Hospital. And I don't think, it's uncountable the tens of thousands of dollars that have been spent on Farkleberry tarts over the years.
Yeah, it was amazing, and it was something that people wanted to do. Pittsburgh has, it's been proven, Pittsburgh has the most generous heart per capita of any city in the United States. They give more per capita than any other major city in the United States for Children's Hospital and for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they were looking for an excuse to give, and we just hoodwinked and built people out of their money year after year with the cockamamie Farkleberry things. Well, one of the things one year was we had a contest. And if you could say the Farkleberry jingle without making a mistake, you would win an after-dinner set from one of Pittsburgh's finest department stores. I was the keeper of the clock, and what you had to do was say, all right, go ahead, start your heart, eat a Farkleberry tart, tear the world apart. And you had to say it in 5 seconds or under. Well, I kept the clock and nobody ever made it. But you had to deposit your money in the barrel first, and you never got your money back, whether you won or lost. So finally a lady showed up outside the window and she said, Jack, yes, I have $500 from the Derry Area School District, which really tickled me. Derry area? She said, I have
my grandson graduated.
I have $500, I want 5 seconds, okay, and I brought my own timekeeper. Oh, now this complicates things. So I said, all right, understand the rules of the game. It's start your heart, eat a Farkleberry tart, tear the world apart. And she's nodding her head, and I said, in Swahili. And she keeps nodding her head. Now I'm puzzled by this because I've just given her an impossible condition. And she said, all right, timekeeper, and he went, and she said, start your heart, eat a Farkleberry tart, tear the world apart in Swahili. So she wins the after-dinner set from one of Pittsburgh's finest department stores. So I gave her a box of toothpicks from Horn's Tea Room. And this is the way it went on year after year after year. And we just took in, one time we had $50,000 in cash dumped into the barrel in front of Gimbel's window downtown by the United Steelworkers from Ambridge. $50,000 in cash, and it never occurred to us to have a security guard or a police officer. The next year we did, but it was not necessary. Nobody in Pittsburgh is going to steal the money. They want to give the money to Children's Hospital. So that was a wrong.
For those of you, a couple of you came in late, I just want to be sure you know everyone here on the dais. Jack Bogut, legendary morning disc jockey, once named one of the 5 greatest morning disc jockeys in the country by USA Today, known for his work at KDK, TAE, and now at WJAS. Frank Gottlieb, news director at KQV and pioneer progressive rock broadcaster at Whammo FM, where he was known as Frank the Freak. And a man who has worked so many pivotal radio station positions, became Pittsburgh's first top 40 disc jockey at WEEP, Pittsburgh's first top 40 radio station, pioneered talk radio in Pittsburgh and emulated around the country, and known for a great long tenure at KDKA as well, Perry Marshall. I also want to recognize somebody you've heard about a lot over the years on the radio, and that she probably doesn't want to be recognized, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Jack Bogut's wife, Joni, and she just told me a great story at dinner when Jack and I worked together at KDKA. Jack would refer to Joni, who he had been married to for several years at that point, as his roommate, and that's how he would refer to me and my roomie Joni. Well, you know, Pittsburgh is a very conservative city, And Joni told me this story, that one time she went into Kaufman's and she was making a purchase, and she gave the woman her credit card, and she looked at the credit card and associated her with Jack Bogut, and started hitting her with an umbrella, saying, "How dare you live in sin with this man?" So, you know, a lot of things that these folks said on the radio were taken quite literally. Frank, you grew up about the same time I did. What did you listen to on the radio? Who were some of your favorites?
I grew up in Beaver County, and naturally KDK. It's the station that really boomed in. And in my youth, in my high school years, it was really a treat to come into Pittsburgh where I could pick up KQV. But one of my favorites was Reach Cordy. And he has not been matched. When Scott Paulson came to town, I thought a lot of the bits that Scott did were close, but they really couldn't touch him. And then Sunday mornings you had Sterling Yates.
Oh yeah.
Sterling. And I don't know what his format was, but it was such an eclectic show. And
how many of you remember Reach Cordy on the radio?
Well, you know, I make the point whenever I'm interviewed that you guys in Pittsburgh Radio are not only important to those of us Pittsburghers that grew up listening to you, but I can't overstate the importance of Pittsburgh Radio on the national radio scene, and how much all of you guys in the formats you were in were emulated, and just a number of people coming into Pittsburgh from other markets, listening to what was created here, and going back to their own markets and doing their own version of Bogut's Mental Minutes or the Top 40 radio that Perry Marshall was doing with Tony Graham and Merle Paulus on News at Weep, and the progressive rock that Frank and the other folks created at Whammo.